Welcome to the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for December 23rd. This is Gina McGuire. Over the last 7 days, we've had significant amounts of precipitation over the northern half of the Great Basin, and in many areas, this precipitation has been above normal for the period of the last 7 days. Over far southern areas, very little precipitation has occurred. Looking at the water vapor satellite image from this morning, a storm system moved through yesterday and is now moving into the Rockies and further east, with breezy northwest flow and still showery activity across the Great Basin, along with cooling temperatures, as another area of low pressure off the northwest coast will drop south and bring additional very cold weather along with additional snowfall. Now we look at the ventilation index for today. We have fairly good dispersion over most of Nevada and the southern half of Utah. However, the dispersion is much more poor as you go further north into Idaho and northern Utah. If we look at the individual components, the transport winds show these breezier winds over Nevada and Utah, with weaker wind flow indicated by the green colors over southern Nevada and southwest Utah. Also, the mixing heights in the blue and purple areas are generally lower mixing heights, with the areas in yellow and oranges over parts of central and northern Utah and northern Nevada are slightly higher. Looking at Thursday, this area of low pressure in the northwest drops south, and this will bring increasing chances for snowfall, especially down to valley floors over the northern half of the Great Basin with much colder temperatures. Also, the ventilation index will remain quite low over the northern half of the Great Basin and much higher as you go further south. Looking at the transport winds, on the left-hand image, in the purples and reds, you can see stronger wind flow over the eastern half of Nevada and northern Utah, and weaker winds over southern and western areas of the Great Basin, along with mixing heights that are relatively low as you move further north and slightly higher as you move further south. On Friday, this area of low pressure swings east into the eastern side of the Great Basin, spreading much colder temperatures across the area, along with precipitation and still breezy northerly winds. The ventilation index remains quite low over Idaho into eastern Nevada and Utah, and a little bit higher over southern and western areas. The winds you can see have decreased significantly across the Great Basin, and also mixing heights have decreased, especially from north to south across the Great Basin with these much colder temperatures and precipitation. Looking at the clearing index for Utah issued by the National Weather Service, with these breezy winds today, we are seeing generally high indices for clearing index across much of the state of Utah. However, these indices gradually decrease, and most significantly on Friday as the colder temperatures set in, along with the precipitation. If we look at the overall forecast amounts of precipitation over the next few days, you can see generally anywhere from above a half inch to near or above an inch of total liquid equivalent of precipitation. However, with these very cold temperatures setting in place, most of this precipitation will fall as snowfall. We're also seeing another significant round of snow into the Sierra Nevada. Now looking at the extended outlook from Saturday into early next week, we see a stronger ridge of high pressure move into the Great Basin from west to east this weekend. This will allow for much weaker wind flow, however also allow for very strong inversions across the Great Basin as these cold temperatures are in place. These inversions will also allow for very poor ventilation, especially over the northern half of the Great Basin on Saturday, with still good ventilation further south as gusty northerly winds continue. As we move into Sunday and this ridge starts to extend east across the Great Basin, we'll again see weaker winds, strong valley inversions, very cold temperatures still in place, and also very poor dispersion in most areas, with the exception of the far southern areas of the Great Basin. By Monday, another weak trough moves across the area with another chance for precipitation, however still fairly weak winds with poor dispersion expected across the area, but there may be some slight improvements over western and southern areas. By Tuesday, this low moves east, however still another area of low pressure will approach, with some showers across the area, and generally poor dispersion in all but far southern Nevada. If we look at the expected precipitation from early Saturday through early Monday, you can again see this drying trend across the Great Basin as that ridge of high pressure extends further east. If we go later into December into the first week of January, we're expecting below normal temperatures and below normal precipitation, so a period of drier weather for the Great Basin. That concludes our briefing for today. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Thank you for listening.